This morning's guest is talking about ethics and values, and she'll make time for coffee and tea. What's it all about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're east of Chicago Pizza at 40th Avenue North and Kings Highway here in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Jackson Family Center for Ethics and Values, and we're visiting with its director, Claudia McCollough. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
It's my pleasure, always.
Exciting. I hope you had a great 4th last week.
Lovely 4th.
Did you?
Actually spent it at Brook Green Gardens.
Did you?
And
Good.
saw that wonderful play about Theodosia and Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful place to be.
Was that, who was starring in that? The guy?
Oberst.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bill Oberst, who's a superstar. We interviewed him down at Brook Green Gardens
really?
years ago in the
Well,
Russell
I would
Holidays
recommend
place.
those
Yeah.
cool evenings. It's lovely to stroll and eat a lovely dinner and go
Right.
sit under the trees. And it was a very strange place for the 4th, but at this time in my life, I sort of liked it.
Like something strange.
I didn't
That's
have
right.
grandchildren here, so I didn't have to do the fireworks.
Hilarious. Yeah, I was thinking with all that trees around, they probably wouldn't want a fireworks.
No, I
down
don't
there.
think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
They don't even need it. Nature does her own fireworks down there.
Good for you. Those are good words. Well, we were down in Merle's Inland, and they were doing a lot of fireworks across the street
Yes.
at Huntington Beach State Park. I tell you, a lot going on.
When we drove out, we saw that.
I'm sure you did. How exciting, the Jackson Family Center for Ethics and Values. It's relatively new, Claudia.
Yes, it actually is. This is our 3rd full year.
Is that right?
Right.
And y'all are housed at?
We're housed in the Humanities, the College of Humanities and Fine Arts at Coastal.
Carolina University. Again, for our viewers in the PD and southeastern North Carolina, we need to get them down more often. If they pop by the campus, it's pretty easy to find.
Oh, yes. It's
encourage folks to come by and visit the center.
Come to the Edwards building. We're upstairs. We have a lending library and lots of information.
Good.
We'd like to see them, actually.
Absolutely. Are you originally from the area, Claudia?
I am originally from Georgia and Charleston.
Ooh, Georgia and Charleston.
Born in Georgia.
Yeah.
I didn't want to offend my mother, so I always have to say that.
Yes.
Born in Georgia, raised in Charleston.
Charleston,
yes.
South Carolina.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Do you still have family in that area?
Yes, I have some extended family. My mother now lives in Florida, and my older brother is the dean at the University of Florida, so she's down there. And so we're sort of just southeastern people.
Yeah,
I like it.
Absolutely. Hopefully you get down there or they get up here often.
Oh, yes, a lot.
That's wonderful. And how long have you been at Coastal Carolina University?
Since '78.
Is that right?
I feel
Almost
like a
30
pioneer,
years.
yes.
Yeah, next year. You feel like a pioneer.
Yes.
Were there many women there on campus when you arrived?
Actually, I was the very first woman in all of the University of South Carolina's system in philosophy.
Is
for
that
a long
right?
time. And so there were, that's a good question. No, there weren't a lot of women professors.
Right.
In terms of the students, I'm not real sure. I never thought about that part of it. But there were not many women professors, and we were very small, Greg. It was minuscule compared to what it is now.
I saw in the Herald just last week that they're expecting 8,100 students matriculating in the fall. That's amazing.
I think there were 1,400 when I went there.
Wow.
3 buildings and 1,400 students.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who are some of the folks that were there then when you arrived that are still
Dick
real active?
Singleton. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My dear friend John Durrell, who is deceased, but John was Dean of the College of Humanities. Jim Eason, my dear friend, who's just retired. So Steve Nagel. We're all of my class is beginning to retire.
Well, don't say it.
We kind of hang around.
Yeah. The opportunity when the center popped up just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And how did they find you for the opportunity to be the director there?
I wrote what we call white paper for the center.
Right.
For a long time, I wanted an ethics center at Coastal. I was chair of the philosophy department.
Is that right?
And
wow.
I thought, my last act is going to be to get this center. So I pushed it and I pushed it, and I pushed it. And finally, it landed on Danny Nicholson's desk the very same day that the Jackson family, the daughters, came in and said, we would like to do something to honor our parents.
Wow.
And Danny said, read this.
No.
Yes, serendipity.
Yeah.
Danny said, read this. They took it home and read it. And I'm fortunate, though, they're my friends, and we've known each other a long time. And they were excited, so that's how it got started.
Wow, Claudia, that's amazing. My father's going to be with us later this week. He loves to talk about predestination.
Well, tell him that story.
Likely a Presbyterian, so I will definitely share with him that story. He'd get a kick out of that. And of course, the patriarch and matriarch of the family live here in the area. They've got 5 daughters, of which three live here. 3 of them live here in the area, which is a tremendous
And they're
connection.
very active on our board.
Is that right?
Yes, yes.
The family is active
and the
on the
family's
board.
very active in the center, too. So
that's wonderful.
They've been wonderful. Oh, yes. Yes, we do a summer ethics academy with rising 6th graders in public school, and we do it for 4 days, and the last day, those students spend the day out at the campground, Ocean Lakes Campground.
Of course.
With the Jacksons.
At the family campground. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yes, and we have laughed and said, all of the work we do with those students, that's probably the most exciting thing. The Jacksons are so kind. They send a bus to pick up these students.
No.
Yes, and we go out there and have a hamburger and hot dog roast, and then the students put on little plays, etc., to show the Jacksons what they have learned in the Summer Ethics Academy. And then the happiest part, they get nickels and dimes to go play the machines and play putt-putt.
Great.
Oh,
yes, it's a tremendous spread out there at Ocean Lakes, and very crowded in the summertime for the most part, so I'm sure they're thrilled to have an opportunity to get in there.
The Jacksons have been grand. We could not do this without their endowment.
Yeah, very definitely. It's so special to find families that want to wrap around, whether it's their alma mater, in this instance, whether they had a connection as students or not. So finding folks who find a real interest in the university or in a college oftentimes. We were recently at Horry Georgetown Tech. They had a meeting in one of their conference rooms, and an $800,000 bequest came in from a couple who had no tie whatsoever to the college, but someone had mentioned about the great things they were doing.
Wonderful.
An older couple that had retired to the area, have since passed away, but found a real need to support.
Right. What a lovely gift.
Absolutely.
Those gifts are incredible.
It makes a real difference as you push it. And of course, when you said they're active with the board, what are some of the things that the board does on a regular basis to...
Well, the board meets 4 times a year.
Okay.
And I report to the board.
Yes.
And they go over what I've done. This will go to the board, today's appearance.
Oh, great. Good.
And we go over that. We evaluate it. And they make recommendations. And I take to them all of our programs, upcoming programs.
Great.
And they make evaluations. And they're very good about attending our programs, I must say.
Great.
These very busy men and women, they are excellent about doing that. And then, of course, the budget. We go over the budget and our 5-year plans and 10-year plans. So they're very involved, and I am wild about my board because they don't keep quiet, and I need that.
Excellent. Very definitely.
Yes.
You're probably used to that from being in the classroom for a long time.
Yes.
You taught continuously for almost 30 years, for 25 years?
Yes.
Not to date you there, Claudia,
that's okay. That's okay. That doesn't work.
You mentioned you were the chair of the department as well. How
philosophy
long
and religion.
did you serve as chair of the
9 years.
Is that right?
Yes.
You know, we had a gentleman on the show about 3 weeks ago, Steve Shield, who'd been the chair of the computer science department there at Coastal.
Yeah, sure.
Great guy, very interesting guest, and he's now acting chair, as Jean-Louis Lassay is in New Mexico, I think, in the summers. But it's fascinating hearing him talk about a lot of responsibilities chairing a department.
Yes, it is.
Was it equally responsive, heavily responsibility with the philosophy and
I also taught while I was chair.
Oh, boy.
I really like teaching. And yes, I think that actually I always said that The chairs of any university are the people down in those foxholes.
Yeah.
They're the ones. In the foxholes, they do a lot of work. They never get much recognition, but they're an incredible group of people. It was really a joy for me to work with the other chairs. And I was also glad when my tenure ended. I was ready to focus more attention on the center, so
absolutely.
It worked out perfectly.
Wow, 9 years was 9 years enough.
9 years was 9 years.
8 years enough. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, we think about, when folks hear the word ethics, of course, having been a philosophy professor and having taught both freshmen as well as seniors, folks who may be a little bit interested or a lot interested in it, or even folks who went into graduate school, what are some of the basic issues that you want to make sure to get across, or that you all are working to get across, whether it's to sixth graders or to adults in the community, as you all take your coffee and ethics out on the street?
It really sort of all starts with how we treat and how we desire to be treated by other people. I mean, that's at the basis of an ethical issue. Do I want you to lie to me? No, I do not. So, deontologically speaking, I'm sorry.
Ooh, yeah,
that's the theory, an ethical theory.
Let's get that,
I should not lie to you. So we said that's a very interesting issue. Just the way we treat people and are treated in our society. And so, when we bring in these Summer Ethics Academy students, we do. Dr. Renee Smith and Dr. Julina Oxley run that for me. They do the teaching. They're on our philosophy faculty, and they really do some pretty heavy ethical theory, and then they set up their own scenarios. These students, how would they act in that situation, and why? So I used to tell my students, your ethics are really none of my business. My ethics are really none of yours. What is my business is that you understand the ethical decisions you make and the ramifications of those decisions. And I think that's it.
Do unto others. I mean, that sounds...
well, that's a very deontological approach to ethics, yes.
That's very interesting, yes. And what is the deontological? Is there an opposite of deontological?
Teleological.
Teleological.
That means
you didn't think you'd wake up at 7 a.m. hearing deontological.
Deontological means that
no.
the rightness or wrongness of the act is in the act itself.
Right.
Teleological means that the rightness or wrongness is in the result, is in the end, the purpose, the end of it. Yeah.
That's probably why I failed philosophy twice. Couldn't get through that.
Yes,
I had a little trouble there.
We do it all the time.
Yeah.
You do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was an ethical decision for you to decide to come here today. You could have skipped out.
That's true.
Wonder why you didn't.
That's right. Well, we would have missed the buffet, though.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Claudia McCollough, they've got a tremendous buffet here at East Chicago.
Yes, they do. I saw it coming in.
For a few hours this morning to enjoy that. You know, when we think about, of course, kicking off a big center, there's a lot that has to happen. Of course, you had to create a white paper so that it could end up on Danny's desk, so that he could show it to the Jacksons. But when they saw it, for them to think they want to make a difference, we want to honor our parents, but at the same time, they want to do it in a way that will really impact a lot of folks. Right. Again, you're talking about sixth graders, but you're also, I mean, the summertime program, you've got a series of events that kick off on September 18th and go, I guess, annual. Right. Is that right?
We do our Tea and Ethics series every year.
Yes.
And that we came up with that title because I couldn't decide how we should do an ethics seminar in the late afternoon. It occurred to me it'd be very civilized to have tea.
Yes.
So we serve tea in china cups.
Really?
Yes.
Where are they held?
They are held at this coming year. The ones on campus will be in our recital hall.
Okay.
And then they are repeated down at Waccamaw Center for Higher Education in Litchfield.
Good.
And then Dr. Bobby Wilkes gives us the fellowship hall. We call it Fellowship Hall is Town Hall at First Presbyterian Church.
Great.
So we repeat one down on the south end and one at the Presbyterian Church.